Yo, how is everybody doing? Hope you guys are doing well. We have a crazy video for you today. In today's video, I'm going to be giving you guys 100 survivor tips for Dead by Daylight. Yes, you heard that correctly. 100 tips. To my knowledge, I think I might be the first person to do this on Dead by Daylight. And these are going to be very fast-paced tips. I'm not really going to go too much into them. Some of these tips are going to help out new players more, whereas some of these tips are going to help out more advanced players. You're most likely going to find some tips that are going to help you out. These tips are going to help you become a better Dead by Daylight survivor in different scenarios, whether it be in the gameplay itself, the menu, or just straight up knowledge, because knowledge can really help you out. If you guys have any questions, be sure to let me know in the comments below, and I'll try my best to get back to you. Okay, and without further ado, let's get right into it. Take a hit for an injured teammate, especially toward an exit gate. Cleanse every hex you see. Only haunted grounds is really going to mess you up. Try using windows more instead of relying on pallets. That can also help your team out. Closing a chest fast does alert the killer to your area by giving him an alert notification. Try to avoid hiding in lockers as much because killers can grab you and instantly hook you. Always look behind you in chases. This is so vital, especially against people like Huntress. If you're in the middle of nowhere, try using a tree to block the killer's swing. If you run into a pallet and you're definitely going to get hit, don't drop the pallet because it actually slows you down and it's not very efficient. The shack is a great place to loop as a survivor, but just try to hold on to that pallet. Good killers will try and go around walls, so run into a pallet or a window and fake it by running away from it the last second. Use the double back method. Fake your direction around the walls, confusing killers, and then getting the advantage. A simple 360 can get you out of really sticky situations. WASD and then flick your mouse right to get out of it. Sometimes it's a lot better to consider pushing the generator instead of healing, especially toward the end of the game. If you didn't know, a hooked survivor can actually absorb a hit from the killer and it does no damage. Use this to your advantage against campers. Did it bring an item to a game? Don't worry, use a chest to find an item. If a killer isn't destroying pallets, definitely loop them. They're a great safe zone until the killer gets rid of it. Avoid popping all the gens in one area. You'll free gen yourself toward the end of the game, making it really difficult to get any gens done. If a killer is chasing you and has completely lost sight of you, by walking away, the killer cannot see your scratch marks. Don't unhook a teammate if the killer is close by unless you have borrowed time or you must make that save. It's really unsafe. If you're on a generator but you know that the killer is busy in a chase, continue doing the generator, don't worry about the heartbeat. If you come across any totems, by all means cleanse them, but I wouldn't go and try and search for them. If you're struggling to find a generator, tilt your camera upward and you'll see a generator with its lights flashing. If they're flashing, that means you can repair that generator. If they're on, they're already repaired. When you're on a generator, always know your next safe spot to run to, whether it be a pallet or a window. Use the shrine to get DLC teachable perks, saving you money. Don't even consider prestiging if you're new, you're wasting a lot of blood points. Consider having a main survivor to go to. This saves a lot of points and you become stronger with that survivor. Did you know that female survivors tend to usually be a lot smaller than male survivors? Iron Will stops you from making any injury noises. This is especially good if you're new to the game. Always try to avoid unhooking yourself, wait for a teammate, it's a lot safer, but do so if absolutely necessary. When you're on the dying state on the floor, always recover, or if you are very close to a pallet, considering moving to that position and then recovering. If you really want to become immersed, wear dark clothing. For all of you solo players out there, Kindred is an amazing solo queue perk. Do not run straight if you're facing a ranged killer like Deathslinger or the Huntress. If you're struggling to survive, consider playing with your friends because it tends to be a lot easier. Did you know that you can use pallets to pallet save survivors when the killer puts them on his shoulder? If you find yourself that you're getting tunneled a lot, consider using D-Strike. It's a great anti-tunnel perk. A lot of you get confused about this one. Teachable perks do not pop up in blood webs straight away. You got to refresh the blood web a couple of times on each survivor. Struggling with key bindings? Consider switching out your struggle key or action key in the settings. If you're getting chased by the killer, really try your best to not bring the killer back to the hook or maybe toward a gen that your friends are on. It's always usually a good idea to 99 a door by almost completing it due to the end game collapse. However, this is situational. Open it if you really need to. Avoid instant unhooks as much as possible because the killer is most definitely going to come back to that hook and tunnel them. Whenever you're looping around a wall, always try and look for the killer's stain, which is where the killer is looking. You have a way better survival rate if you play the character that you're best with, not the person that you're leveling. To save yourself iridescent shards, avoid buying teachables from the shrine if they are from a free-to-play character like Claudette or Meg. Play the killer to understand the killer's mindset in a match. This can really help you out. Knowledge is key. When the killer is about to hook somebody, slowly entering a locker counters barbecue and chili. If you're using sprint burst, it's way more efficient to try and 99 it, giving yourself more distance in a chase. When a spirit is phase walking towards you, always try to walk away. Don't run away because the killer will see your scratch marks. If you see that a generator is regressing and the killer is nowhere near it, tap it to save it and then start working back on it. Always try and hug the wall as close as you possibly can when looping. You need as much distance as you can possibly get. When facing Pyramid Head, try to fake going to pallets or windows because he's most likely going to use his ability. Use blood point offerings to get more points faster. Windows of Opportunity is a great cape perk if you're new to the game. This shows you windows and pallets, great for looping. Killer is camping a hook. Consider being a distraction so that your friend can get the save. Play Kill Your Friends to learn maps and loops easier. Whenever you're facing a killer, always think what perks is that killer using and then try and counter those perks. Always remember that the killer plays in first person and you play in third, so use that to your advantage. Have fun in Dead by Daylight. Don't always just focus on winning or surviving. You can complete daily challenges for added blood points. You can drop a firecracker to blind a killer whenever he picks up a survivor. You can only vault one window 3 times because the entity will then block it and you can't go through it again. You can use a flashlight to flashlight save a teammate when the killer starts to put them on their shoulder. Whenever you're repairing a generator, always be moving your camera around to understand where the killer could be. If you have a video graphics card, consider using the video game filters to brighten up your game. I have made a video on this. Want to find somebody's perks or powers? Type F1 on that character in the menu. By default, you can use a red or purple key to open a hatch. If you're facing against a Myers and he has tombstone and you're definitely going to get grabbed, jump in a locker because then he has to hook you and he can't tombstone you. Also, if you're definitely going to go down against Oni when he has his power, jump in a locker and by getting grabbed it will end Oni's power. Play as Jane to distract the killer. I don't know why that happens. Staying in the same place for too long or in a locker for too long will bring attention with crows. By default, there are always 3 chests in a match. You can also bring a offering to increase this. Good huntresses will always usually try and throw through a window or a pallet, so consider looping that area before just jumping straight through it or dropping the pallet. If you're playing in a solo queue, Bond is a great perk again. It can help you find a teammate for a heal. If you see that Myers is stalking you, try and break that line of sight to counter his ability. You should always try and drop pallets a little bit earlier against people like the Clown or Doctor. Bringing in a rainbow map actually gives you more points because you can scout the area and find generators. On a purple flashlight, the best add-ons are a green battery with a filament. On a key, you can use a blood amber add-on to see the killer's aura. When Wraith is cloaked, he does counter borrowed time. If you want to get easy points, use We're Gonna Live Forever. It's a fantastic point building perk. If you want to be sneaky, consider bringing a mist offering for a more immersed match. If you're playing against Freddy and you're asleep, that does also counter borrowed time. You can use a toolbox to break a hook for a short duration. If you have an add-on that you really want to keep even after you die, consider bringing a whiteboard that protects your item. Did you know that the hatch always spawns on the bottom floor in Gideon Meat Plant? Whenever you're facing a hag, it's always best to crouch toward the hook because the hag's always going to trap the hook. There are different toolboxes. Some are better for sabotaging and others are better at repairing. Whenever you see Ghostface trying to stalk you, always try and stare at him to break him out of it. If you find yourself with loads of extra iridescent shards, you can actually purchase already owned teachables in the shrine for extra blood points. Calm Spirit counters Doc's ability completely. Whenever the trapper places any traps on the floor, you can actually disarm them. If you're playing against a spirit, Iron Will really does counter a spirit because she relies on the audio. Struggling to play against a Wraith? Whenever a Wraith is running around invisible, you can actually see his outline and also hear his bell when he uncloaks. Whenever you're facing somebody like the Oni or the Demogorgon, always try best to spin at the last second to confuse them. Whenever you're facing against a Freddy, always try your best to wake up as much as possible. He becomes really strong if not. Spying Chill is a great perk against sneaky killers like the Pig or Myers. Whenever facing a Leatherface, try and loop a tree or a wall, or jump in a lock at the last second. Change your direction very fast when a hillbilly is about to chainsaw sprint. This is very situational, but try and avoid cleansing against the plague as much as you can, but if your teammates are doing it, it's more efficient to start cleansing as well. And the last one, like and subscribe for weekly tip videos with notification bell on to improve your gameplay. And there you have it. That was 100 survivor tips for Dead by Daylight. If you've made it this far into the video, I just want to say a massive thank you for watching this. It really does mean a lot. This took a very long time to edit. Again, I just want to say a massive thank you to all of you guys for the support recently. We recently hit 2,000 subscribers, and because of this, I will be doing a giveaway on my next live stream over on Twitch at twitch.tv/WolfskyHD. I'll be giving away a couple of copies of Dead by Daylight, or if you have the game already, I'll be giving away a couple of Dead by Daylight DLCs instead. To participate in the giveaway, simply subscribe to me on YouTube, join our Discord, and then just be on the live stream, which we'll be giving this away on the 30th of July, one day before my birthday. If you found this video useful, it'd mean a lot to me if you guys could like and comment below. Also, if you have a friend that might benefit from any of these tips, be sure to share the video as well. I'm absolutely loving these videos at the minute, and I just want to say that we're only just getting started. I have a lot of ideas, and I can't wait to see your guys' reactions. So thank you very much for watching the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.